Well, howdy there, Internet people. It's Bo again. So, today we are going to talk about the Supreme Court's ruling concerning carrying things. We're going to first talk about what it didn't do. Then we're going to talk about what it actually did. And we'll get to some of the downstream effects and the hints that the court kind of threw out there. But this ruling in and of itself, pretty simple, and most of the reactions are much ado about nothing. It didn't do what a lot of people think it did. First, it did not introduce permitless carry. I've seen that on a couple of blogs and in a couple of videos. Your subscribers are not going to be happy with you. That is not what happened. At heart, this is really about two terms: may issue, shall issue. So what we're going to do is take it out of concealed carry licenses and put it into driver's licenses for a second. When you go to get a driver's license in your state, there are requirements. Okay, you have to have a learner's permit for 6 months. You need insurance, pass a written test and a driving test and a vision test or whatever, right? Okay, so you go in, you do all of that, and then the person at the DMV says, you know what? You only live half a mile from work. You don't really need a license. That is may issue. The way it actually works in your state is shall issue. You meet all the requirements, they have to give you the license. It doesn't mean that there aren't requirements. It just means they have to be objective, quantified, measurable requirements, and if they're met, you get the license. What this ruling did is say that may issue licenses for concealed carry aren't any good. States will have to rewrite their laws. States that have may issue licenses will have to rewrite their laws and make them shall issue. It doesn't mean that anybody who walks in and says, hey, I want one, gets one, though. It means that whatever the requirements are, they have to be objective, quantified, and if they're met, the license has to be given. The way I read this, if New York wanted to have quarterly mental health exams as part of the requirements, I think they could. It's not as dramatic as a lot of people are making it. It really does hinge on those two terms. Okay? Most states have shall issue. This applies to, I want to say, 5 states. So, not actually a huge deal, this particular ruling. However, from this, you can infer that the current court's interpretation of keep and bear is a little bit broader than previous courts. And because of that, there's a whole bunch of other state or local level gun laws that probably would not survive a challenge under this court. But we already knew that. If you've been watching this channel, like that's the first thing you're supposed to ask when you're talking about gun legislation. Will it survive this court? And most won't. So the permit thing actually isn't as huge of a deal as people are making it out to be. The states that have may issue can still regulate concealed licenses. They just have to do it in a more objective way. That's it. And then the other side to that is this court, things like bans on high-capacity magazines probably wouldn't make it through this court. There's probably a lot of things that this court would strike down that previous courts have allowed to stand. Their interpretation of bear leads me to believe that things like rifle racks, like back in the day in pickup trucks, those may be coming back because their interpretation of bear seems to be pretty broad. But I wouldn't panic or think that everybody in the state of New York is now going to be armed. That's not going to be the outcome from this. So, anyway, it's just a thought. Y'all have a good day.